all sorts of technical difficulties today. Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when and where you're listening to this. This is the live and working Coffee with Kevin. And here's my coffee. Mm-mm-mm. I hope you have a nice hot cup of coffee, hot cup of tea, or maybe it's a water, maybe it's a juice. It doesn't matter as long as you're celebrating this morning of being a wonderful day. Yes, yes, today, let's see if I can get this to work this time. Today is the 17th of February, 2026. The 17th of February, 2026. Can you believe that? I can't. I can't. And you know what today is? I don't know if you can hear that, but that is Good Vibrations, baby. Yes, the Beach Boys released Good Vibrations on February 17th, 1968. Yeah. Good vibrations. Oh, yeah, that was great, wasn't it? That was great. I loved the Beach Boys growing up. They were a little bit, I was, young, single digits around that time. I still loved them. It was wonderful. Good Vibrations is something, I'm going to talk about. I'm going to go old school today. Old school meaning I'm going to talk a little bit about my life, which is what I used to do when I first started this program, a Coffee with Kevin, and maybe give you some metaphors and some ideas for your life. It's been a tremendous weekend in all sorts of ways. Weekend started off with Friday. I got to meet my half brother. Yes, my brother from another mother. A brother that neither I or nor he knew about a year ago. And he just started texting me several months ago and mentioning this. And it took me a little while. Yes, of course, it would take everybody a little while. But he actually was coming down here and mentioned it to me. And I said, yeah, let's meet. Let's have coffee. So my wife and I and he and his wife met, and wonderful people. It was just a little strange and felt a little awkward, but it was wild. When the first time I laid eyes on him, I said, oh my God, yeah, he looks so much more like my father than either I or my brother looked like. And there was no doubt. But it was incredible conversations we had. He's an incredible person. He and his wife are wonderful people, like I said. And it was nice. A lot of people might shy away from this kind of meeting. And, my father's long passed. And my mom and dad are long passed. But it was really interesting and I think incredible, like I said, to do this, to meet him. And so that happened. And it was a good day. It turned out to be a good day. I wasn't sure how good of a day it was. But then the next morning took a turn. Next morning, my brother-in-law was staying with us, coming to visit. He does every February. And he hadn't been feeling good. He'd been coughing and stuff like that, and had thought he had caught a cold or a flu or a bug or something like that. And so it got worse in the morning, and we said, okay, let's just take you down. He said, let's go to urgent care. Well, urgent care wasn't urgent enough because when we got there, the doctor immediately called an ambulance. We routed him to the local hospital where they said he had I just had this on the tip of my tongue. It was a cardiac pulmonary cardiac event, and even a small heart attack, and he couldn't breathe at all or anything. And then that hospital decided this is too serious to be here. He needs to go to a hospital that had a thoracic surgeon. So then he got driven to another hospital in Tampa, and that's where he is now. Now the thing is with my brother-in-law, it was again kind of interesting. He's supposed to have the surgery, heart surgery. Supposed to have it in 3 weeks, and I guess his body said, I gotta have it now. And so he's now in Tampa, and he is actually, as of this moment, he is probably in surgery, if not out of surgery, um, to get a new heart valve. And it has been a wow, winding, incredible up and down weekend, as you could imagine. But as of yesterday morning, he was like, wow, 180% turnaround. He was feeling good. He was up. He was connected to a whole mess of stuff, of course, because he was getting prepared for heart surgery, but he was so good. And, praise the Lord for the fact that he's recovered. He came around and got strong enough to have surgery. And you know what? It just so happens that the hospital he got sent to is in the top 10 hospitals in the country for the kind of surgery he's having. This is like top 10 in the country and the US. And so, maybe something just happened there, and it was supposed to be this way. So yesterday he was feeling really good, and I had a friend that I had been planning for weeks to meet yesterday. And so since my brother-in-law was feeling really good, I decided to go out and meet my friend who had just landed at 3 a.m. in the morning, him having an 8-hour delay in his 30-hour flight out of India. And so I got to meet him. I hadn't seen him in, oh gosh, it must have been 8 years or so. And that was a wonderful, wonderful meeting. I keep on using wonderful twice. I don't know if I'm becoming like our president or not. I'm trying not to use that word or that adjective. That was a beautiful meeting we had. I hadn't seen him in a while. Got to talk with him quite a while. Enjoy some of the beach down here because he got to stay at the Clearwater. I was jealous. He was in Clearwater, not far from the beach, and we just went out there and had a little dinner together. So it was wonderful. Right, there I go again. And my whole weekend, I got to meet my wife. We had the good news that the surgery had been planned. It's planned for this morning. And the whole weekend was as tumultuous as it was. Worked out well. Some people might have gotten overtaken by all the emotional roller coaster that happened. And yes, and I had to support the other people that were with me, but you got to get through these things that happen, and they do happen. They don't always happen like this. But these emotional obstacles come into your way. These sometimes really very serious, very even life-threatening obstacles come in your way. And as you're getting through them, you have to endure. And that's what I wanted to talk about today is endurance. We endure through whatever it is we have, whether it is things like I just talked about, some serious things, some life-changing things, or whether it's the small ones that come one at a time over and over and over and over again, we still have to endure. So that's what I want to talk about today is endurance. And let's see what we have for our first quote. Okay, we got someone in the chat. Oh, my lovely wife, Brenda, she's in there and saying good morning. So I'll say good morning to you, Bren. Brenda endured the entire thing that I endured this weekend. I wasn't alone, which is great. If you're not alone, it's it's great to have a partner or other people to endure with. It is really helpful. Okay, it's going to be the test of me not to use the word wonderful for the rest of this through the rest of the show. Okay. All right. What's the first one? Energy and persistence conquer all things. Energy and persistence. Persistence is that moving, continuing to move forward, not breaking down and stopping. Energy, of course, is needed. So you got to find that energy. You got to force that energy. Energy is an interesting thing because sometimes we're so fatigued, we're so overwhelmed that we can't move, and we can't move because we have no energy. But when we find the strength to move, all of a sudden we're getting more energy, and it's an interesting thing. It's a funny thing that okay, they work with each other. You think, okay, I need the energy to move, and then you realize if I'm moving, I'm getting more energy. And that's something we just have to think about is move, get up, walk around, start walking around, start doing things. And then the energy comes back. The other night when we came back from actually having gone out at 5 or 6 in the morning, we had only 4 hours sleep. And then we had a long 12, 16-hour day, came home, and I was doing things. I was cleaning up. I was, doing the dishes and everything else. My wife said to me, where do you get the energy? And the energy just came because I forced myself to start doing things. All right. Confucius, we got Confucius back here. It does not matter how slowly you go as long as you do not stop. I can go bring this back to the energy. You don't have to get up and jump around and start doing things, and you just have to move. You just have to do it. So it doesn't matter how slowly you go, just as long as you do not stop. That's the persistence thing again. The endurance. And that's what we're talking about. Through perseverance, many people win success out of what seemed to be destined to be certain failure. Here we're talking at kind of a different level. We're talking about success, but success to me this weekend was getting through it and getting through it in the best way for me and my family. All right. So many people win success out of what seemed to be destined to be certain failure through persistence, through endurance, or perseverance. Because that's what we have as a word here. Perseverance is not a long race. It is many, many short races, one after another. And this is absolutely true. If we think of it, okay, I got to get from point A to point B, and point B is way, way on the other side where everything's over. That's a long race. It's not a long race. You get through today, you get through this morning, and then this afternoon. Short races, no matter what we're going through. Think of it that way. Oh, if I can just get through doing this particular thing I have to do. And lastly, today, courage. I didn't mention courage at all yet, and now it isn't. Courage doesn't always roar. It's not you getting up and you getting through it. Sometimes courage is a quiet voice at the end of the day saying, I'll try again tomorrow. Or, as it's been through the week, it's I'll do it again tomorrow. We're going back to the hospital today and see how he's doing after he wakes up from his surgery. We'll be there for him. We'll be there for each other. And we'll do it again tomorrow and the next day, because it's going to be a few days. So courage isn't always with a roar. Remember that is sometimes courage is the quiet voices within you that say, let's do it again. Try again. All right. All right. I hope this was helpful for you because some of you listening to this may be going through some things that are hard to get over that you don't think you'll get through. You can endure, you can persevere. Take it small steps at a time and use that quiet courage that says, I'll try again tomorrow. All right, all. All right, this has been Coffee with Kevin. And again, I got my coffee in front of me. Don't even know how I reached over to get it. It happens automatically. Oh, that's good coffee. If you don't have good coffee, reach out to me. I will let you know where you can get good coffee or how you can get good coffee. Coffee is an interesting thing. I was reading a little bit about the history of coffee last week, and did you know in the 18th century, the 1700s, there were places that coffee was made illegal. They didn't like coffee, not because coffee itself seemed bad, but it seemed the reason why people would unite. It seemed the reason why people would gather. And when they gathered, they started talking about things like, how can we make our lives better? How can we change the government? How can we do this and change that? And so leaders of the governments, the kings and czars or whatever they were, started saying, hey, this can't happen. We got to get rid of this bad drink here. And so they closed down all gathering places. And there was one somewhere in Germany, and this again was in the 1700s, where if you were found serving coffee and making your own coffee, brewing your coffee beans, I think it was, you could be shot. Thank God today we live in a free society to drink the coffee that we want to have. Until next week, I want you to have an incredible, fantastic week. And I know it's up to you. And I hope you know by now it's up to you to make the choice to have an incredible day, an incredible week. And I know you can do it. All right. Take care, all. Bye-bye.